Hello, everybody. You know the drill. I'm getting everything all hooked up for tonight's live. Just trying to make some last minute adjustments. Why not? That's pretty good. All right. Let's see. Get everything turned on. I think that's pretty good. All right, I'm trying to see, lighting wise, we're doing okay. Let's see. It's a little bit better. All right, I'm gonna minimize my screen. If you are stopping by tonight, drop a quick comment just to say hello. Let me know you're here. I'm trying to zoom into this video. There we go, just a little bit. And we will get into some crafting in just a second. I hope everybody is having a fantastic Wednesday night. I'm so happy that it is Wednesday and that we're getting close to the end of the week because the Kindred stamps the release is coming up. That's actually not what I'm most excited about though this week. What I'm most excited about is the Chicago Playdate, which is happening, and I will be in attendance, of course, and I've got little bits and bobs to help out with, help get ready, greet the purple boss lady tomorrow when she gets into town. So, all right. So hello, everyone. It's Justin, of course. Today I've got a fun Facebook Live planned. I'm pulling in another villain. We're not using the villainous stamp set. We're using the Bad Guys Have More Fun stamp set, which is a really fun 6x8 stamp set, which features a bunch of sort of like comic book villains, along with a couple heroes, just a couple on the set, but it's just jam-packed with characters, and I haven't actually used this set before, so I thought this would be a really good opportunity to do a little bit of coloring and just a little bit of crafting with you all, and we're going to pull in some pattern paper too, which I think is going to be a little unexpected as well. So why don't we get into just a little bit of our coloring. I am going to start, let me put my markers a little bit off to the side over here. We're going to start like I always do with my E04, and we're just going to go in and sort of trace our marker along her hairline, just like this, because we are using this Poison Plant villain from the stamp set. I thought she would be perfect for the paper I wanted to use. So we're going to just kind of anywhere that hair meets her side of her face, down the side of her nose, just to give that a little bit of shadow. We're going to go under her chin, and let's do up the inner portion of her arm. We'll go around where her viney corset of sorts meets her skin. Just like that. She's also got a leotard on, and we're gonna add a shadow on her legs, down to her boots, just to where her boots and her skin sort of meet. We're gonna do the right leg as well, and continue with the same sort of pattern. We're also going to, I'm gonna do a little shadow under the leaf over there as well. So, okay, if you're just dropping by, just drop a quick comment to say hello, just so I know who's stopping by and what y'all are up to crafting-wise tonight. That's always fun to talk about. But what I'm also going to do is, I know I usually like talk through the coloring and like explain step by step what I do. I don't know, I just kind of thought it would be fun just to have a little bit of like a color and chat tonight with y'all. So, I don't know if you're in the August release event, but Audra just posted in the regular fan club where this live is. She posted the final sneak peek for release week. So if you haven't joined the release group yet, I definitely would. The release group is where you're going to see all of the design team inspiration for the release. And then, of course, the release will be going live this upcoming Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific time. So just that accordingly to your respective time zones. For those of us like myself in Central Time Zone, that means it's going to be 10 a.m. For those of us Eastern, that's going to be 11 a.m. And then Mountain Time is going to be 9 a.m. But check it accordingly in case your area may be slightly modified from what I just listed. And of course, if you're located outside of the United States, if I'm not talking about a time zone that pertains to you, be sure to adjust accordingly. So let me just see. Y'all are quiet tonight. That's okay. Oh, we got Diana. Hi, Diana. Looking forward to the new release. Yes, I am really excited. I just shared my sneak peeks for the new set today. The sneak peek that I had participated in is like, I don't want to call it revised. It's like another edition that's very close to Salem Sisters, which I'm pretty certain is like my all-time favorite stamp set. So I was very excited to see this sort of new iteration of these characters. I think it's really fun. I think people get a lot of use out of it too, especially because there's now a little cottage that goes along with them. Sorry about that. That was my smart home device. So I think it's a super, super cute set. Hello, Kristen. Hope you're having a good night. Oh, you're if you're coloring along with me, I love that. So color away. We're coloring up this sort of viney villain from the Bad Guys Have More Fun stamp set. So I'm going in now with a little E00. Just kind of keep on drawing that color out. And I'm just realizing I forgot to grab some blush color for her, but that's okay. I'll grab that when we get to it. My markers are very close by. But yeah, I think this release is a lot of fun. The design team, as always, hit it out of the park with their design team samples. This is like the perfect release for if you love any sort of spooky movies. I think almost all of the products, if not every single one for certain, is kind of horror-ish based. From what I can recall. One of them is, well, they're all kind of tied with like Halloween sort of themes. They're not necessarily all like horror movies of sorts, but we're talking about all different sort of Halloween tropes. We've got witches. We've got like the undead. What else? We've got baked goods. Who doesn't love a baked good around the holidays, especially for Halloween? Lots of fun stuff. Just kind of going in, bringing all of this out with my E00. I can already tell I'm getting a very good sort of blend with her. Now, one thing about the Bad Guys Have More Fun stamp set is it is one of the stamp sets that do have coordinating dies. And the coordinating dies are still in stock. I actually believe they may even be on sale at a markdown price. So be certain to check that out. And then, oh, Patsy's flying out tomorrow. That is so exciting. Patsy, I wish you, and I'm assuming you're flying out with, both you and Carrie are there. Absolutely. I was going to wish you both a very safe flight, and I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys on Friday. We'll have a lot of fun coloring and crafting and chatting, sharing sneak peeks of sorts, all the fun stuff. So just kind of going back in with my E04. Under her chin. Just kind of going up her arm. Trying to keep this as in the center as possible. You know what's kind of unavoidable with the way that I color, and I do apologize. I know sometimes when I'm like reaching across the image, my hand tends to cover it up. So I do apologize about that. I can always try my best to avoid that. I don't know how good I'm necessarily going to be at it, but I hope it's of some sort of value that I'm recognizing that sort of a incident. So I do apologize about that. All right, we're going back in with E11. But yeah, this August retreat, or not August, retreat and release are two very close words, and they are both happening on Friday. Except it's more of a play date rather than a retreat. But you know, this release is super exciting. And then of course, we'll be back next month with another release. Can't give any sneak peeks for that, but I can just say you guys are going to love it, as always. All right. I'm kind of going in with these shadows. I was going through the process of, I always talk about, when I say we, I mean more so Justin talks about T'all. When I plan a Facebook Live, I always kind of make sure to reach for products that are still available for y'all. So the Bad Guys Have More Fun, of course, is still in stock. But I do a couple things for myself because I own a lot of the Kindred stamp sets. They're in my personal stash. I just spent last week working on reorganizing everything. So that was exciting. It was also a lot of work. It's still a work in progress. I'm actually hoping with the retreat this weekend, the get-together, that I'm going to have a little bit of time to work on some more organization that I can put some items in stamp pockets. But I always try, when I'm planning a Facebook Live, it's exciting to me to pull in products from sets I may not have used yet, because there's a lot of sets that I absolutely adore and I haven't touched them. And I don't love that because you want to use the products you love, and sometimes you just don't have the time to make them right away. So if you follow along with me on Instagram, you'll know that every once in a while I color my way through newer stamp sets. I forget the last one that I had done. I want to say it was Emotional Roller Coaster. So we're talking a month or two ago that I had done it. But I just kind of like to pick sets for my Facebook Live that are new to me and that I'm able to kind of have some fun with. So this is one of those sets. This is one of those characters that I just absolutely adore. I'm going in right now, getting in a little bit of R22 for her blush. Do her other cheek as well. Trying to keep this very tight to her cheek area. I'm also going to have the interesting challenge with this character to use a red and green color palette and not have this card have that sort of unintended yet always associated Christmas effect. I'm not really a huge fan of the use of red and green together. Even with Christmas, I'm a little, like, Christmas trees are excusable. They're a green tree, so of course there's going to have red ornaments on it. But, I don't know. Not my favorite color combination, but we're going to do the darn thing. So, but yeah, so like I said, I haven't used this stamp set before, so we're going to use it today. We're going to use it for the sentiment, for the image. I would love to color my way through this stamp set eventually. So who knows, maybe that'll happen kind of soon. I have a handful of stamp sets I really want to work my way through. I really want to find any stamp set that has villain characters and color them up. I don't know if I would even put them all on a card together or not, if I'm being honest, but just kind of to have them available. Just kind of going in. Blending this all out. Check comments in a second. Of course. All right. So we've got her skin taken care of. Let's check our comments. Hello, Gwen. Hope you're having a good night. Oh, Kristen, that makes me so happy that you're coloring along with me and that you're also excited to use it because you haven't reached for it yet. Because that just means I made a very good choice. That means we made a very good choice. But let's go in. I'm going to color up the lips. We're going to do some R29. And we're going to go in, oops, sorry about that, because she's got to have those kind of blood red lips. We're going to then do some R24. And then finish it with some R22. Now, lips are kind of interesting because I kind of gauge how big of lips I'm coloring is going to be about how many colors that I use. And her lips, there really is enough real estate to work between 3 colors. So that's why I chose my 3. I do recommend with lips, if you ever have the opportunity to do more than 1 color, to do so, because I feel like lips, especially like plump lips that are like a lipstick color, there's always sort of that shine in the center of them. So I feel like using these gives you that shine. All right, let's get into some hair. So I kind of came up with my own sort of color for her hair, and I don't really know how committed I am to it, but we're gonna get started. We're gonna start with some R39. We're just gonna kind of do some strokes. I'm doing under her hair right here too, because I want her hair to be red. There's also like a very wee bit of orange to her hair. Like she is like, when people say red hair, she definitely has red hair, but it does also sort of veer in that direction of like a little a very slightly orangey. So we're gonna incorporate some, they're all from the red family group, but we're gonna pull in a couple colors that lean a little into that orange. So stay with me for that. Just like that. And then I would like to, let's see, there's of course, gotta do down here. Now I'm also going to say the Stamp Set Ocean Royalty, I would say this hairstyle could probably also be used for that as well, or this hair coloring. So keep that in mind. Okay, there we go. A little bit of a divot right here. So I'm just gonna kind of add my strokes just like that. And I think we're in the right direction. All right, next I'm gonna go in with some R37, and I'm just gonna kind of bring each of these strokes of hair a little bit further out. Trying to keep that texture going. Now, being transparent, I'm not really looking at my comments right now. I'll check them after I put down my first layer of hair color, and then I can address any questions. So I'm just going in and very lightly sort of making, I want to call them tick marks, but almost like strokes on my paper. Just like that. We're going to have to blend that out later. It's okay. Just kind of going in like that. All right, perfect. Just kind of they're a little on the stringier side. All right, so I'm just kind of going in, adding some hair texture, just like that. It's coming together. Takes a little bit of time though. All right, next, let's pull in, I think I want to pull in some I want to do some R29. That's a little close in color. You know what? We're gonna ditch the R29. Let me pull in some R17 maybe. I think that might be. There we go. Do some R17. And this is gonna help bring in those orangey colors I was talking about. So you can use the R29 if you want. I just don't feel like it's giving me much of a difference in the from the R37. It's very subtle. Obviously they're two different colors, but I switched it because I wanted to make more of a jump in color. So, all right, so we're going in like that. Just like that. I'm just kind of adding color in. I'm realizing I skipped over a couple areas, but I can get that color laid down when I go through my second time. That's okay. Yeah, this hair color is great. Okay. But like I said, we're gonna start leaning a little bit more into the orangey tones, which I think for her is totally okay. So we're gonna do some R14. Just like this. All right, and then we're gonna go in with the last color, which is R12. I'm checking the comments, and I'm not seeing anything. If you have any questions or comments about my hair color choices, let me know. Or any bits and tips I can pass along your way. Let's just kind of add that in. All right. Ooh, that's right. This is a pretty color, and I do stand by that. I absolutely think it would work for the Mermaid Princess from the Ocean Royalty stamp set. All right, let's go in with some more R14. I'm just gonna kind of bring out those strands of hair a little bit. Just like that. Add that texture back in. We'll talk for a second about why with hair, why I go in reverse on my second round. So now, I always talk about coloring twice. When I color twice, that means that I use the same sort of palette of colors to color up my image twice so that I get a nice sort of saturation going and a better blend with my colors. Now, normally when I color from dark to light, and then on the second round, I go dark to light again, doing the exact same thing. However, when doing hair, I start dark to light on the first round, but on the second round of colors, I actually go light to dark. The reason that I do that is because when I'm coloring hair, I want those bold, stark lines. I don't want it to be blended together like a nice seamless blend. That is the opposite of what I want. I want everything to kind of stand out. And so when I color it from light to dark, it allows me to capture the individual strokes that I'm doing for the character's hair. So there we go. So that's my recommendation. All right, we're gonna go with some R37. Kind of keep going. I am gonna have to pull in. Oh no, do I not have a gel pen near me? That could be a problem. That's gonna be the thing that I truly forgot that I'm gonna have to get up and grab. That's okay. honestly, after her hair, she's not going to have too much in need of being colored. All right. Finish this up with some R39. Adding in those strokes once again. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna grab my E000 really quickly, just because I got a little bit of red on the bottom of her chin, and then a little bit on her shoulder. So I just want to go in and fix that. Now all we have left is her green. So I'm going to go in with some G19, and I'm just going to go ahead and add it on the bottom, around her hand, and then we'll do on the sides of her corset. Now we're also going to add the same color to her boots, just like that. And I'm also going to very carefully add this color for these little leaves. Now the leaves, I don't think I'm going to color twice. I think we're going to do just one time. I'm going to do a little 2-color blend on them, and that'll be that. These little leaves give me a little bit of anxiety with coloring. I think if I try to blend them, I'm going to end up frustrated. Personal story. Do whatever you want. If you think you can color these up with a blend, I say have at it. All right, just adding this in. All right, just like that. Now we're gonna go in with, we're gonna do some YG17, just to kind of brighten it up with a little bit of that yellow-green. I'm just gonna kind of add that in. Do her boot. Just like that. And then we're gonna go in with some YG13. And this is gonna be the one that I'm gonna add into those leaves. Gonna add that in. All right, getting quiet because I have to focus on these little leaves. That's okay. All right, just kind of adding in my color. There we go. Lastly, we're going to do some YG01, and then I'm going to color up her little leotard and her boots one more time. Oh, I love these colors. All right, let's do this one more time. And do G19. Boots. Now you could really get fun and add some textures into the boots and into the corset leotard as well. Corset leotard, I'm going to say it's probably more along the lines of a leotard because it has like a top and bottom function to it, where a corset's really just focused more on like a waist area, or it's more used as like a top. But she is fantastic. All right, this YG17, going with some YG13. Just like that. Oop, flips over. Finishing with some YG01. Perfect, just like that. All right, so I'm gonna put my markers away. And I do need to look for very quickly to see if I can find a gel pen. There it is. I received some new gel pens recently and I just started using them. These are Karen gel pens. I'm actually pretty happy with them. So I'm using them. I usually use the Sakura Jelly Roll pens. So I'm using these in lieu of that. They're doing a pretty decent job. No complaints yet. Stay tuned. It's just a little bit with that. I'm gonna remove her. I'm gonna bring her close to the camera. See? So we've got our little villain. She's all ready and card appropriate. So we're going to set her off to the side and then we're gonna work on our background. So for the background, I wanted to utilize some pattern paper. And I told y'all yesterday what pattern paper I was gonna use. And, oh, Diana, you're so sweet. I just saw your comment. Thank you so much. I decided to pull in the Rose Princess paper. And I decided to pull it in because this print particularly really stands out to me. And I think it's absolutely perfect, which is these red roses that are outlined in black. So I've already gone ahead and I've die cut that print with the large rectangle from the Card Basics die. So this is ready to go, but I wanted to do a little bit of ink blending. And I'm trying to determine how much I want this to go up. I'm kind of thinking around that mark. So I'm just gonna make like a little bit of a mark. Maybe like right there. And I'm gonna trim it. Yeah, that'll be fine, that'll get covered up. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab my paper trimmer and I'm just gonna go ahead because I've got a second die cut of the rectangle, but this is from what I call blending cardstock, which is just Strathmore Bristol Smooth Series 300. And I'm gonna cut it like that. I'm gonna save this though for another project. And what I would like to do is grab an acrylic. Well, that was a little loud. I apologize for that. I'm going to go ahead and use some oxides and do a little bit of a green color blend. So we're gonna go in with some Twisted Citron. And I'm just gonna go in and blend it. Just like that. And then I'm gonna go in with my next color, which is going to be Mowed Lawn. And I'm going to blend that. So let's just kind of tilt a little bit. Just kind of blend it. I'm gonna fix it so it's a nice smooth blend at the end. Just be patient with me. I promise we'll get there. And then I'm gonna finish with some Rustic Wilderness, which is a dark green. So I'm just gonna kind of add that to the bottom. All right, just like that. So now, kind of like how I use my markers twice, I'm gonna use my blending brushes twice. I'm gonna go in with that Mowed Lawn and just kind of blend that Rustic Wilderness into the Mowed Lawn. And I'm using this to keep my fingers clean, but also not to smudge my project. And then I'm gonna use my Twisted Citron blender and blend that into the Mowed Lawn to get a nice blend going. So I don't really have much of a line. We get what's called an ombre. All right, so close to perfect. Could use a little bit of help, but I don't want to put too much time and effort into it because we're just gonna do the thing that I do that makes it look better, which is splatters and water bleach marks. So let me grab my Kindred craft towel. There we go. A little bit of a tongue twisting situation. And I'm just gonna wipe this off. And then we're gonna take my water bottle and I'm just gonna take the nozzle off and splatter like that. Perfect. So I'm just gonna kind of let it set for a second. Now the reason I'm gonna let it set for a second is because one, when I'm done talking in a second, I'm gonna grab some water. But two, the longer I let the water sit, the more ink it'll pull off the paper. So I'm gonna grab that water. Then I'm gonna grab my Kindred craft towel, place it over, just kind of press it down. And then I've got some little bleach marks, which is exactly what I wanted. But I'm also gonna pull in a little bit of paper splatter watercolor. So this is Kiwi Lime, it's from Picket Fence Studio. And I'm just gonna do a couple drops onto my little acrylic block, and we're going to dilute it with just a little bit of water. I'm just gonna make sure I've got a clean brush. And I'm gonna go ahead I'm just gonna kind of splatter. Now this will take a little bit to dry, and that's okay, because I'm not ready to put everything together yet. So I'm gonna just kind of splatter that a little. Excuse me, that was not very classy of me. All right, so I'm going to move this to the side to dry. And I'm gonna just work on a little bit of a quick cleanup. I love working with this white glass mat because it allows me to see wherever there's something left over, and I can just really quickly sort of clean it up. So, all right. So I've got Mr. Sir. I apologize regarding the dog noise. All right, so as my panel is drying, let's work on our sentiment. And I've got to grab my Misty really quick. And we're going to just do a really easy heat emboss sentiment. And I'll talk to you guys about some of my tips and tricks. And now I'm realizing that I have, where's my little Misty? I left my other Misty in the other room. But this one worked fine. So I'm going to use my mini Misty. And I've got some just kind of scrap black cardstock from my stash. And realistically, could use this area right here. Let's see if that'll work. So I'm going to tack this down without too many issues, please. All right. Let's just kind of do it like that. Okay. Then I'm going to grab the Bad Guys Have More Fun stamp set. And I want to use the sentiment that says, "You say poison like it's a bad thing." Obviously, it's perfect for this character. Probably was designed specifically for this character. So I'm going to grab that sentiment and put it down right over here. And I'm going to close my Misty door. I'm going to pick it up. And then I'm going to use my anti-static tool. This is from Tailored Expressions. And just kind of tap it down. And then I always do this. I don't really know why, but I put down my stamp on top of the powder, clean it off a little bit, and then grab my embossing ink. So I've got my Kindred Stamps embossing ink. I accidentally saw the other day that my lid was slightly off, so I don't know if this had dried up at all, but I believe in using as much of it as I can until, as long as possible, really. And it looks like it's still pretty juicy. So we're gonna go in, got my sentiment all stamped out. I'm going to try and carefully pick this up and grab some Snowfall embossing powder. All right, got my powder on. We're gonna put the excess powder away. Perfection. And then I'm going to set my Misty off to the side. I will clean it when I am done. And let's go ahead and emboss our sentiment. So I'm just gonna go ahead, use my heat gun, and just sort of see if we can get that moment it begins to turn. It's kind of starting, you can see by the G that it's kind of starting. It's moved on to like the top half. All right, come on, we're almost there. Perfect. That's actually almost an actual perfect sort of embossing situation. So while that's cooling, I'm going to go ahead and clean off my sentiment. And we'll put it away. Excuse me. My goodness. All right, we'll put my stamp set off to the side. And then I can grab my craft towel, find a dry section, and just sort of wipe it off, wipe all that excess powder off. And let me grab some scissors because I want to fussy cut the sentiment out. Hi, Christian. No crafting for you tonight. That's okay. I'm sure you'll get to it soon. I hope maybe you've got some crafty time ahead of you, maybe with this long weekend or shortly thereafter. So let's go in, just fussy cut this paper. Now, the paper that I heat embossed it on, this black paper, this is mixed media paper in black from scrapbook.com. It's like ultra thick paper. It's probably one of the thickest papers I've worked with. And I really like it for using it as a black paper for sentiments, for heat embossing, because it's so sturdy. So add that to maybe a future wish list or to try out. It comes in a couple different sizes. You can grab the small A2 size of it if you just want to test it. I mean, let's be honest, you never really can have too much black paper, so in the chance that you find that it's just not your cup of tea, you could just use it sparingly. I don't know. I find any black cardstock in my stash that has a good weight to it, it ends up getting used. So it's worth a shot to try it. I really like it. Some of you might even think it's actually a little too thick, but I really enjoy it. All right, I'm gonna have to go under that a little bit better, but that's okay. I'm trying here. Just kind of trim my sentiment. So just kind of make sure everything is nice and clean. I've got to kind of go around this Y a little bit. I have too much of a jagged edge, and I need it more of a curved edge. That's okay. Perfect. Oh, that one was a little frayed. Awesome. Okay. Christian, I know sometimes it's hard to find a good black cardstock. I reach for this one often, very, very often. So I don't know, maybe you guys will like it. Like I said, it's not too much of an investment just to try it out. I don't know. All right, let's go ahead. I have to heat set this because it still is not fully dry, and that's okay. So I'm just going to go in. Use my heated craft tool. Now, yes, this is a different heat tool that I use for my heat embossing. The heated craft tool kind of does like a slow, constant sort of situation with distribution of heat. as opposed to like your heat gun for embossing is very direct and more powerful. So I find that I like to use my heat it tool when it comes to just getting something to dry, but I use my heat gun when it's time to heat emboss. All right. So now I'll bring this a little closer so you can see it catch the light. But I've got this metallic paper splatter in this lime green that adds a really nice sort of sparkle to the project. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna adhere this onto this background. I'm already loving this. Yeah, that's gonna be really pretty. That's gonna be really, really pretty. So let's go in. I'm gonna just add a little bit of glue. And because they're die cut the same way, I should just be able to kind of nudge it exactly into place, just like this. And then I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put this under my oversized acrylic block, which I have 2 of and lost my second one. I don't know how I can do that, but I guess I did. And then I wanted to go in, and I have some paper that I wanted to use. So I have some glitter paper, and I wanted to frame this panel in some green glitter paper, just very slightly. But I also want it, so I'm going to trim it down to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I'm going to very carefully just sort of nudge it along. I think that looks good. I wish that my trimmer had 1/8 tick marks on the grid, and it doesn't, but that's okay. Maybe something to think about for the future one. So, all right, so I've got these 2 little strips that I'm actually going to use one of them. And I've got my glitter cardstock. And what I want to do is to put a very little bit of glue right here as along this line. Just like very light glue. Like that. And then we're going to take this one strip of glitter cardstock and put it right there. I'm already going to just throw it out if I don't use it, but I thought it would be really pretty just to give a little bit of a pop of glitter right onto the card. So I'm just gonna kind of push that down with a little bit of pressure from my block. And then we're gonna put some, you know what? I wonder if I should use times like glittery surfaces don't take super well to liquid adhesive unless like it's an extended period of time. I'm wondering if I should use double-sided tape instead of liquid adhesive. So I'm just gonna kind of trim this off, just like that. It almost gives you watermelon vibes, but it's very poison sort of feeling. I love this. And so then what I wanna do is I wanna take this panel, I'm gonna adhere it directly on top of this. I think I could probably get away with using liquid adhesive. So we're gonna do that. That'll allow me to kind of nudge it into place. So I'm just gonna kind of very carefully put it on. Just like that. At least the paper is forgiving that it lets me kind of nudge it around. Let's just kind of put this on top for now. So I was thinking, originally I was thinking that I would frame this in red paper. But I don't think I'm gonna use red paper. Now that I'm sitting here and like really considering it, I think the red might be a little too much. So why don't I go for like a black? I actually think that would be a really fun sort of color because it's gonna pull in the black from the pattern with the roses. So I've got that mixed media paper I was telling you about. It's already cut down to A2 size. So I can just use a piece of that and I think it'll go over really nicely. So, all right. See, now this is making me feel, yeah, this is This is gonna need double-sided adhesive. Okay, where did it go? I had it out. Here we go. All right, so I'm actually, while I'm working with this, let's use some double-sided adhesive and let's talk about why sometimes things don't go as planned. So like I was saying, sometimes when you use a media or a paper that has like a finished surface to it, you unfortunately cannot always successfully use liquid adhesive. And that's what I'm encountering right now, and it's totally okay. This has happened to me before. This is why I have double-sided adhesive close by if need be. Now, I don't often like to, my preference is not to use double-sided adhesive, but it does help in a pinch. And the reason why I don't like to use it is because I like that little bit of wiggle room of time that liquid adhesive gives you to make sure that your panel is exactly where you want it placed. You don't have to worry about like it being locked into its final destination the moment that you put it onto the panel or wherever you're adhering it to. But these papers do have a little bit of a special coating or texture on them, which can make it very difficult to adhere if you don't have all the time in the world. And on a Facebook Live, that does kind of promote a little bit of a problem. So I don't want to keep you here all night, literally almost watching paint dry, but we're just gonna be watching glue dry. So we're gonna use double-sided adhesive, and that's gonna really help put this all together. So let's remove the backing of our tape. So definitely, if you don't, I know all of us have some sort of like a tape gun or some sort of ulterior foam of adhesive that maybe using a tape gun is your primary method. You're not a liquid glue person. That's a Justin thing. And I say I understand. Because realistically, you never have to worry about the double-sided adhesive not sticking to something. So wait, Christian says, I'll use the double-sided adhesive sheets with the glitter because of that reason. I'm impatient. You get it. Of course you get it. I'm sure most of you get it. And I feel the need to just sometimes talk my way through it. So, yeah. Just make sure. See, but this is just the part that irritates me, is that sometimes, most times, because Justin never puts things exactly in its place, I have to fidget to make sure that I have this in the appropriate spot. You know what? That's pretty good. It's not going to get too much better than that. So, okay. But I will luckily be able to adhere this directly on top of my black. I won't have to use the liquid adhesive, or I will be able to use my liquid adhesive. I don't have to use the double-sided adhesive. So I'm using my Misty Precision Glue Press, which, by the way, y'all know I love. Add it to your wish list, ask Santa for it, ask whatever next holiday you may be celebrating that someone might be getting you a gift for, if you don't have one already. All right, so just kind of nudge it into place. This really does have like a dark poison sort of feel to it. So, all right. So, for what I'm going to do is I'm going to put her off center. So she's going to be like over here. And then I'm just going to put the You Say Poison Like It's a Bad Thing kind of off to the side of her. Yeah, something like, well, I don't want it to look like it's in the center of the card though. I could just, I could have her like standing on it. What do we want to do? I don't know. I like her like this. Like, I think that's just a really good spot for her. But we could also just add it up here. We could do it like in the corner and just add some pretty embellishments. Would it be pretty in that corner? Would it work better in this corner? No, we can do it kind of right over here. I like that. That's where we're going. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. All right, let's grab some foam strips. Start working on putting this on our card. Oh, wait a minute. There they are. So I've got some foam strips. These are also from scrapbook.com. They're an 1/8 of an inch wide. I don't know the thickness. I think they come in a couple different sizes, but I really, really like them because it allows me to kind of have these pre-cut strips that are much smaller than foam tape, so I can kind of play around with sizes. Oh, thank you so much, Wendy. It's a really good hair color, and like I said, I think it would work really, really well for the sets that incorporate the Mermaid Princess from Ocean Royalty. So don't forget, we had Seaside Couple that just came out recently, so she kind of makes an appearance in that. We also have her in the Modern Princesses stamp set, just kind of in a different form. She also what is it, the original princess? I forget the name of the set, but I know it's the original Kindred style of princesses. She makes 2 appearances on that stamp set, so in 2 different forms. So keep that in mind as well for future card making. The glue press from Misty, Wendy, really, really is a fantastic tool. When I heard about it, I kind of thought it was one of those things that was just going to disappear quickly. I didn't really think, there was like a lot of talk and buzz about it at first, but I'm not someone that usually immediately will jump on the bandwagon. I kind of like to wait to see if it sticks around. And it did, and I was like, you know what? Let me just try it, see what it's all about. Now I use it every single time I'm crafting, and I absolutely love it. So, all right, let's do this. You say poison like it's a bad thing. So I'm gonna take these foam strips and separate them. Just kind of adhere a couple. And then do 2 little ones. Just like this. All right. We are on the home stretch, y'all. Just taking the backing off this tape. So I'm going to put this like right here. Yes, that's how I like it. That is perfect. Perfect for me, at least. All right, let me grab an A2 size card base because we're getting close to being done, but not fully there yet. So I'm gonna move some items off to the side, and then I'm grabbing my A2 sized card base, and I'm going to add some adhesive to it. We're just going to adhere it. Now I could have fully omitted the black cardstock and just adhered it to get the white frame of the paper, but I thought because we were given this more of a villainous look, I wanted that darkness on the edge. I wanted to pull in the black from the outline of the rose and the cardstock with the sentiment. So I really like how this all played out with it. And I say let's add a couple embellishments. We're gonna add some just iridescent sequins. So let's go in, just add a couple. I don't need to do too many. I wanted to, let's see, we'll do like one here. Do one nice big one up there. And then let's see, do like 2 there. I like to do my sequins once it's on the card base because my card is never dry enough with the sequins to like push everything into place, and I find that I have to adjust them anyways. So let's see. Where do I need any more? Is that enough? One right over there. something a little larger. Let's see. I'm overdoing it. I always think about with little embellishments, I don't ever want to do too many. Okay, we found one. All right, just like that. This is going to be my last one. It's going to give me an odd number of 7. All right, so there we have it. We've got our little villain card all finalized. Let's talk about what we made. So we used the villain, the little poison girl from Bad Guys Have More Fun, and we used the rose pattern paper from the Rose Princess set, and we made a little card just featuring her that gives a very sort of poison rose vibe to it. And I know that sounds like very obvious, but it does. It gives that like the rose with the sharpest thorn, you know, like that sort of a feel. So I think it turned out really pretty. I love how the coloring of her ended up being, and I think you guys did too. I got a lot of compliments from you guys about how she turned out. And I think her hair is gorgeous. Remember those little tips and tricks that I had said about adding the texture and making sure to like end with the darker colors so that you get those textures. And this is super cute. I love how the coloring of her turned out. Also, can I safely say this does not look Christmassy? I think I can say this doesn't give Christmas vibes. So that makes me very happy. So thank you all so very much for stopping by tonight. I'll be sure to get the replay up on my YouTube channel along with the blog post. It might take a day or two just since we're in the middle of the week. I will be back next month with 2 more Facebook Lives. I am totally living in this villain era right now, so maybe you'll see more villains pop up. Maybe you won't. But stay tuned. Dates will be announced for my next Facebook Live, the next 2 that I'll have for September when the calendar gets published next week. But in the meantime, don't forget to stay up to date with all things Kindred Stamp with the August release. If you haven't yet joined the group, the release will be going live on this Friday, which is August 20. Wait. Let me think about it for a second. 30th? Wait, what's today? Today is the 28th, 29th, 30th. So it'll be live on the 30th at 8 a.m. So Friday, whatever date Friday is. Now I'm sitting here and I'm second guessing myself. No, my iPad says August 28th is today. Friday, August 30th, 8 a.m. Pacific time. Grab it. So thank you all so very much for stopping by. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.